at the end of this weekend, at the end of these kinds of weekends, you get really tired. Anyone tired? Like, kind of like a little bit brain dead? I have some good news for you. I am not going to teach you anything, right? All I'm going to do is get you to do one thing. That's it. So you probably have a notebook full of stuff that you've learned from the weekend from these great mentors. My only goal is to get you to do one thing that's going to make a difference for you. You with me? Yes. Say yes if you're with me. Yes. Okay. So this is an interactive presentation. So if you're standing in the back, especially if you are a mentor, you're going to be asked to do some stuff. So get to a spot where you're comfortable and relax like you're actually going to do something. Okay? All right. So, okay, we all must suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Anyone heard that quote before? Yeah? Okay. So I've never really considered myself a disciplined person. Goal-driven, yes, but not very disciplined. My parents had very few rules and kind of let us do whatever we wanted to do, so I grew up kind of hating rules. I especially have a problem following my own rules. You know, like discipline. Anyone else have a problem with rules or discipline? Raise your hand. Oh, come on. A lot more of you have a problem with rules and discipline. Have any of you heard about the marshmallow experiment? Yeah? Okay. I know Heidi has heard about it. So it's a psychology experiment to test self-control where they put kids in a room with marshmallows, and they were told that if they don't eat the marshmallow for 10 minutes, then the researcher will give them another marshmallow, right? So this is like 1973, okay? So they followed up with these kids later, and they found out that the ones that avoided eating the marshmallow were later shown to, in follow-up studies, to have achieved greater career success, better health, higher SAT scores, and had greater life satisfaction than the ones who ate the marshmallow right away, okay? So the point is, if you have a habit of delayed gratification at an earlier age, you'll be happier overall in life. Yeah? You guys with me? Yes, okay. So if you were taught this early in life, you're good. But what if you weren't? Is there any hope for you? So they did this experiment again in 2013 at, I think it was the University of Rochester. And they did it a little bit differently this time. So this time they primed the kids by offering them some, a small box of crayons, right? So they said, here's a small box of crayons, right? If you can hold off from playing with these crayons, then you can get a bigger box 10 minutes later, right? Then they did the same thing with stickers. Don't play with these stickers, you'll get more stickers, right? But they split the kids up into the reliable experimenter group and the unreliable experimenter group. So these are 5-year-old kids, and the experimenter said, hey, I'll give you more crayons, and then 10 minutes later, the experimenter never came through. So it was a little bit cruel. That was the unreliable group. With the reliable group, they actually came through, right? So they brought them the bigger box of crayons, they brought them the more stickers. So when they got to the marshmallow, right, you can imagine that the kids where the experimenter didn't come through just ate that marshmallow right away. They didn't wait for that 10 minutes. The kids where the experimenter did come through, they were able to delay gratification. In fact, they were able to delay it 4 times longer than the second group, right? So the reliable group, 4 times longer than the unreliable group. So changing the environment to train the kids to delay gratification made an instant impact. What this tells us is that delaying gratification or discipline can be learned. So there is hope that you can change, right? But how? So first, you have to stop blaming your parents. My parents are very sweet people, right? And it's not their fault, okay? So here's the thing. Delayed gratification or immediate gratification is in your DNA. You're like an animal, okay? So imagine yourself as a gazelle, okay? You live a pretty stress-free, awesome life. Every decision you make has an immediate benefit to your life, right? So if you get hungry, you're going to eat, yeah? And if you get thirsty, you're going to, right? And if there's danger, what are you going to do? Right, okay. So if there's danger, you're going to run. That part is a little bit stressful, right? But have you ever watched one of those nature shows where they show a cheetah chasing a gazelle, and like it's chasing them, and then the gazelle gets away, and then like 10 minutes later, they're just chilling? Like 10 minutes after that stressful event, the gazelle has no worries again, right? So imagine you're you, a human, right? You live in a delayed return environment, okay? Most of the choices you make today will not benefit you today. So if you work hard today, you might get paid in the future, right? If you eat well today, you might get fit sometime in the future. You with me? I asked a question, is it yes or no? Yes, okay, good. Cheetahs don't often chase us, so our stress comes from worrying about problems in the future. In fact, you probably look at that picture, you think, oh, that's kind of a funny picture, right? Speaking of pictures, I wonder if anyone posted to our Instagram feed today. In fact, I don't even know if Instagram is worth doing. Do we have a good marketing plan? Maybe I should book a call with Mateo, right? You're thinking long-term all the time, but you're acting short-term, right? We are wired exactly like that gazelle. If we're hungry, we want to eat. If we're thirsty, we want to drink. If there's danger, we want to run. That's how we've survived for 200,000 years, okay? So this is a slide I borrowed from, you guys ever read Atomic Habits, anyone? Yeah, it's an amazing book. I would check it out. I borrowed it from that guy, so I'll give him credit for this. So this is, each one of these dots represents 100 years. 200,000 years ago, the human brain was formed, and it's only been in the last 500 years that we've had this delayed return environment, yeah? So our brains haven't evolved to keep up. We just react to different things. So right now, if you hear a buzz, oh, I got a text. If you see a donut, oh, man, I need it. If there's an idea, you're like, oh, man, let's go do that idea, right? The ability to stop reacting to everything and focus is called discipline. And if you don't figure out how to cultivate it, you will be filled with a life of regret. The key is to figure out how to connect your long-term goals with our short-term actions, and to make discipline with those long-term goals a part of who you are. I've spent a large part of the last 20 years trying to figure this out for myself. And I came up with a little exercise that me and a couple of folks that work with me have tried, and they've gotten some pretty good results. So it's still in the experimental stages, but it could make a huge difference for you. So you guys want to give it a try? Yes. All right, let's do it. Okay, so there's 5 steps to this plan. The first 3 are pretty routine. You probably already did them this weekend. Some of you did them during the Tinker group, and you've probably done them before. The last 2 are where the magic happens. So 5 steps. So you'll need a pen and a paper. So everyone grab a pen and a paper. So I'll just tell you, if you don't have a pen and a paper, the title of this talk is How to Change Your Life. So if you have no interest in that, then you don't have to do this exercise. Okay, so first, I want you to list 3 long-term goals that you have. So keep it really simple. Things like buy a house, run a marathon, get a six-pack, whatever it is, right? So write down 3 long-term goals, okay? You probably have a few that you got from this weekend, so just write them down. Keep it really simple. Okay. Now, I want you to circle the one that would make the biggest difference for you, and write down a 90-day target for that goal. Okay? Don't overthink this, guys. It's not that hard, right? So all I want you to do is, so for example, if it's buy a house, it's maybe save $40,000, right? So like, it's not like you're going to buy the house in 90 days, but it's like save $40,000. That would be the target for the 90 days, okay? Or if it's get a six-pack, it might be lose 20 pounds, right? Again, it doesn't have to be exact or perfect, but the more strongly you feel about it, the better. Okay, so think about the goal, come up with the 90-day thing. Do you have a goal? Yes. Say yes if you have a goal. Yes. Okay, fantastic. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that goals are overrated. Okay? How many of you have set and achieved a goal? Raise your hand. That should be everyone, right? You're here. So you've set and achieved a goal, yes? Yes, okay. How many of you have had a backslide, like 6 to 12 months after achieving that goal? Yeah. Yeah, like all of us. Again, I can't tell you how many gym owners I've talked to that achieved their perfect day, and then 6 months, 12 months later, they're back in doing day-to-day stuff. Mentors, has that happened? Yes. It happens. How many of you have had it happen at your gym? right? You've had members that did like a challenge and they got in amazing shape, and then something happened, this and that, excuses. 2 years later, they're in worse shape than when they started. Has that happened to you? Yes. Yeah, it's happened to everyone, right? Goals are stressful. They make you do things that perhaps aren't in alignment with your values, like a crash diet or Groupon, right? And when you achieve the goal, you're not necessarily happy. You're still you. Tell me, who's the best basketball player of all time? Yeah, he's from here, right? He won 6 championships, right? Yeah. Does he seem like a happy dude? Like, did you see his retirement speech? He seems like a miserable fucking guy, right? Winning all those titles didn't make him happy, right? I had a goal once. I used to be a fat guy. I was a fat kid who became a fat adult, and I wanted to lose weight. I did CrossFit. I lost a bunch of weight, did some cool athletic things. You guys have that story at all of your gyms, right? Where it really gets interesting is when I was about to turn 40, right? So 40 years old, a few years ago. I had a goal to get to single-digit body fat, right? So I'd lost 100 pounds, you saw in that picture, but I never got my body fat that low, right? So I bought one of John's InBodies, right? And I thought single digits would represent real progress for me. So I did a bunch of like fitness-y and nutrition-y stuff, and I got down to 9% body fat on my 40th birthday, right? So that's my scan. Hold on. Okay, so I got 9.4% on 126.17. Okay, so that day I went and I celebrated. I was like, yeah, woo! Bought myself a car because my car completely crapped out. And then 2 days later, I did a CrossFit competition. So that was like major celebration. It was great. Here's my scan 6 months later. Yeah. 9% to 20% and 25 pounds heavier. Right? Yikes. For a goal to be meaningful, you have to change who you are on the path to that goal. Right? Achievement means nothing without an underlying change in identity. My identity was that of a fat guy, and losing weight did nothing to change that. Right? That leads us to the second exercise. I want you to figure out why you want that goal and write down the type of person you would need to become in order to achieve it. So who you need to be. So I would need to be a blank person, right? That's the statement here. So buy a house might be, I want to invest for the future and have a home for my growing family. To get this, I would need to be a saver, right? Forget a six-pack. I want to be a confident and proud of my body and look good on the beach. To get this, I would need to be a fit person or an athlete. You guys got that? Does that make sense? Yes. Say yes if it makes sense. Yes. Okay. If it doesn't, raise your hand. I'll explain it. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you 1 minute to write this down. Go for it. Your goal is just the direction that you're headed, right? Whether you get there or not is not the point. Changing your identity is the real goal. However, we need to revisit our goal to plot out the direction that you're headed with a plan. Then we will connect that to your identity. So your plan is a set of actions that will lead you to your goal. So there's 3 ways that I like to come up with a plan. Number 1 is I figure it out on my own somehow. Number 2 is I copy somebody that has done it really well. Or number 3 is I get a coach. Ideally, you would do all 3, okay? So I want you to spend 2 minutes brainstorming everything you can think of to get to your goal. Just write down a bullet-pointed list of everything that you can think of to get to your goal. So we're going back to the goal here. Everything you can think of, right? And I want you to focus on things you've read or heard about other people doing who have gotten there, right? So if your goal is to sell $50,000 a month in PT, then think about somebody that has done $50,000 a month in PT. There's a couple of them in this room. So write down everything you can think of. The third thing, as I mentioned, was to find a coach. So what I'd like you to do is grab somebody that you did not come here with. It cannot be your head coach that's sitting right next to you. It cannot be your wife. That will fuck this up. Do not do this with your wife. Right? So grab someone you didn't come here with and tell them your goal and your plan ideas, and then ask them, what do you think is the best way to get to this goal in 90 days? Okay? So somebody that you did not come here with, somebody new, you're going to have 2 minutes each. I will tell you when to switch. Jeff Smith and I will come around and answer any questions that you have. So, step 4. We're going to make this real. Your daily actions. This is where we connect your identity to your goal. This is the moment where it goes from a goal focus to an identity focus. It's the things you do every day that matter, not the big push you make to hit that goal before the deadline. I made that big push to get to that 9% body fat, and I never even considered that the real goal was to be a fit and healthy person. To be that person, I needed to do the things that they do every day, which is work out, eat right, and recover. If you want to be a millionaire, you got to do the things that a millionaire does. If you want to be the most successful gym owner in your town, you got to do what that type of person would do. The secret is you can't do that stuff some of the time. You can't just do it when you feel like it. You have to do it every fucking day. I did an informal survey of my coaches and a few of my fittest athletes at the gym, and I asked them, like, how often do you work out? Like, both in the gym and out of the gym. And the most common answer I got was 5 to 6 days a week. Raise your hand if you do some sort of movement 5 to 6 days a week. Yeah, that's a lot of you, right? How many of you were, like, confronted a little bit by that? Like maybe I used to do 5 to 6 days a week. Right, that happens, yes. That's damn near every day, guys. And I would guess that you're not doing that because you have some sort of goal that you're trying to reach. You're doing that because you're a fit and healthy person, and that's what fit and healthy people do. So I'm going to ask you to write down the one thing that you can do every day that will, number 1, take you forward towards your goal, and number 2, make you into the identity that you're trying to forge, right? So I want you to make it something that you can do in 10 minutes or less if it's a new habit, right? So you're taking a goal, maybe it's a new habit, right? If it's an established one, up to 60 minutes is okay, but the shorter it is, the more likely you are to do it. So I want you to write this down. 30 seconds, go. So I have some examples here. So a good example would be I will call 2 clients per day, or I'll hit my macros with these tolerances, or I'll set and achieve a daily goal, or I'll work out like 10 minutes of purposeful activity, or I'll spend 10 minutes a day improving my sales funnel, right? So bad examples would be like I will eat clean, or I will work on marketing, or I will do an intro every day, which would be great, but you can't necessarily control that, okay? So what I'd like you to do is turn back to your coach and share your daily habits. Coaches, I want you to ask questions to clarify and get them to define exactly what the task is. Okay, it's got to be very clear. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this, 90 seconds each. I will tell you when to switch. Go. Do you have your daily habit? Yes. Say yes if you do. Yes. All right. Is it clear? Yes. Okay. Getting really clear about defining and tracking your daily habits will change everything. Every day I get texts from clients who've tried this and send me their results. So this is a tracker. This is my tracker, actually. Some do more than others, right? This is a tracker of one of my clients. And here's just a text from one of them that just did this, like started this last week, right? I couldn't get this guy, I was working on him for 3 years to take daily action, and I finally went through the entire process that you are going through with him, and he had his best week ever. So my favorite example of daily habits in action is the reason we're all here. Two Brain Business is based on one simple daily habit. Chris, how many days a week do you write? All of them. How much do you write every day? And how long have you been doing that? Yeah. 1,000 words every day since 2008. Chris is a writer, and that identity has changed literally hundreds of thousands of lives. Can we please give some love to the man who's responsible for all this? Get up. Can you see how, if you get really clear about defining and tracking one daily habit, it can change everything?
Yes.
One guy. Say yes if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. So are you committed to taking action every day on your new daily habit?
Yes.
I got to hear that again.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get real. Step 5. This is my favorite part. This is where I get to do what I love to do best at Two Brain, which is make you uncomfortable. This is also the part that people kind of like miss, the part that they think is like silly and that they don't need to do it. I want you to commit to this habit for 2 weeks, only 2 weeks, right? Obviously, for some of this stuff, it's going to take longer than 2 weeks. But I want you to commit to 2 weeks, like your life depends on it. Because it kind of does, right? Yes?
Yes.
If you were a serious drug addict, it would take you about 2 weeks to detox. But there are people that live their entire lives filled with regret because they can't stand 2 weeks of pain. The 2 weeks is long enough to get through most of the pain of establishing a new discipline, but short enough to not be too intimidating. You can grind through almost anything in 2 weeks with sheer determination. But that's not going to be good enough, right? Just wanting something is not enough to motivate you. You have to make it more painful not to do that thing than it is to do that thing, okay? So, take out another piece of paper. All right, you're going to write this down word for word. My big goal is your goal, so write it down. And the person I'm becoming is your desired identity, right? So write that down. You got to write it all out. Okay. I will do your habit, whatever it is, every day for the dates of June 10th, that's tomorrow, guys, to June 24th. Write it down. I will be held accountable to your coach by texting photo evidence of this task every day by 8 p.m. Okay, does everyone have that written down? Next line. If I do not send this text, I will Venmo or PayPal $50 to partner name at Venmo/PayPal name by 8 p.m. the next day to use as they see fit. You're laughing because it's getting real, right? A lot of people say they want to do stuff, but they're not willing to put anything at stake. They just want it a little bit. So the last step, take out your phone, take a picture of the contract, and text it to them. You have everything you need to go out and change your life. Thank you.